The Magic of the Lost Temple by Sudha Murthy. Visiting the Village, Part 2. Do you still have any relatives there? Yes, I have an aunt called Sarasu. She is my father's sister and is settled there with her children and grandchildren. I don't think she's ever gone out of Karnataka. Then I have a cousin who owns a medical store, and his son is an army officer currently based in Delhi. He visits once a year and I make sure that I meet him then. What does your father do in the village? Oh, he is a very busy man. He is a trustee of a temple, and whenever a wedding takes place, he is called for the occasion and the newlyweds take his blessings. He has a few cows and insists on taking care of them even though they only supply 1 liter of milk every day. He also grows paddy and coconuts but spends more money on the labor and then donates most of it to the temples. He grows bananas and gives them away to all the village children. Sometimes he sells vegetables too. He is very happy going about his business. Amma is another one. She can't make food for only 2 people. She cooks for at least 10. They have a few servants who do little work but are reliable, paid well and fed even better. Overall, I guess you could say that my parents lead a happy and content retired life. Nooni started thinking about Ajja and Ajji's house in the village. She had been there many times. Ajja owned a 15-acre garden on the outskirts of the village, and adjacent to it were huge paddy fields. There was a small and beautiful rivulet flowing through the garden. Ajja had built a small guest house and a few houses for the workers to stay in. There was a wall around the garden, but not the paddy fields. He called this his farm. Nooni loved the farm. There was so much water and fresh air and so many trees. It was a dream playground for hide and seek. It was warm by the time they reached the sleepy little village of Somanahalli. Shekhar's father was standing outside the house waiting for them along with an unexpected crowd of people. The villagers had come to see the important Dr. Sahib who belonged to their village. At least 10 patients were sitting on the side awaiting a free consultation. As Nooni got out of the car and looked around, she noticed that Ajji was very busy serving tea to all the patients. She rushed inside to meet her grandparents and touched their feet. Ajji immediately hugged her and Nooni felt the warmth of her hug. From the corner of her eye, Nooni saw Mahadev approaching them. Mahadev was an 18-year-old boy. His father was a clerk in the Gram Panchayat while his mother Savita worked in the kitchen and helped Ajji every day. The family owned a small piece of land. Mahadev dreamt of graduating from college, increasing his knowledge about horticulture and starting a greenhouse or a nursery of his own. But he needed money for his schooling. Luckily, Ajja was sponsoring his education and Mahadev was very grateful to the old couple. He stayed in Ajja and Ajji's house and took a bus to college every day. In the summer, his college was closed and he made sure that he was available the entire day to help Ajja and Ajji with their chores. Mahadev came and asked, Ajji, where should I put Nooni's bags? You can keep it in the room next to Amma's. Shekhar answered his question and introduced Vivek to his parents. Shekhar, Usha and Nooni always stayed in that room during their visits to Somanahalli. No, said Ajji, please leave it in my room. I don't want the child to sleep alone. Oh Ajji, I am used to sleeping by myself in my room back home in Bangalore, Nooni said confidently. This is not Bangalore, Nooni. There is better air circulation in my room at night. Also, I can tell you a lot of stories before we sleep. Nooni smiled and nodded enthusiastically. Mahadev kept the bags and brought fruits and the other goodies from the car into the living room. Nooni saw a few children swarm around the goodies. She only knew one of them, a girl called Medha. The children were fascinated by the contents of the basket. Ajja noticed Nooni's curious face. Nooni, you will have many friends to play with during your vacation this time. You already know your cousin Medha, don't you? Yes, Ajja, she is Sarasu Ajji's granddaughter. Medha studied in the 7th grade in the local high school in the village. She was very fond of the arts and was exceptionally good at rangoli and nature sketches. She was shy and took time to make friends, but she was very helpful and excellent at household work. Then there's Amit, who has come from Delhi and studies in Kendriya Vidyalaya school there. Ajja continued. He is Dr. Kaka's grandson. Nooni nodded. She knew Dr. Kaka. His real name was Prakash and he owned a multi-purpose store in the village. It was mainly a pharmacy that also sold newspapers, milk and other grocery items. Since it was the only medical store in the area, people who could not afford to go to a doctor would go directly to Prakash. They would tell him their symptoms and request him for advice and medicines. In time, Prakash came to be known as Dr. Kaka even though he was not a real doctor. His son was a colonel in the army, but despite his regular transfers, he managed to visit Somanahalli for a few weeks every year and ensured that his son Amit spent all his summer vacations in the village. He would say it is very important for a person to know his or her motherland as well as their village to develop patriotism. Amit must know where he comes from. When Amit first came to spend 2 months in the village, he found it hard, but he adjusted very quickly. Now he stayed in Somanahalli without either of his parents. He knew Hindi very well. Most of the time he could be found swimming in the Varada river or in his grandfather's pharmacy in the evenings. Ajja pointed to a boy who was busy sifting through the fruits in the basket. See that boy? Ajja asked. He is Anand, the son of our new school headmaster Shankar, and he is in the 8th grade. His family has just moved here from Mysore. He is an intelligent boy and an avid reader. He also knows a lot about computers and other subjects because the atmosphere in his house is very academic. Father and son discuss politics, history, physics and various other topics almost every day. Is Shankar around? Asked Shekhar as he relaxed on a chair. Vivek was sitting comfortably on a sofa nearby. You mean Shankar Master? He must be in school at this time, said Ajja. His wife Gauri is my friend's daughter, Ajji added. So we have given the family the adjacent house to stay in. Anyway, the house had been locked for years. What happened to the house on the other side? Asked Shekhar, recalling the empty houses of his 2 uncles. That is under lock and key. We use part of it as storage and part is kept ready for guests to stay in. If there is a wedding in the village and people come from outside, they can stay there, said Ajja. Why, isn't there a wedding hall in the village? Asked Nooni. No, the concept doesn't usually exist in villages. Typically, the wedding is performed at home and the guests are accommodated in people's houses, Ajja concluded. Appa, I'm going to leave after lunch, interrupted Shekhar. I must reach Bangalore today. Usha will leave for Delhi in the afternoon. I have kept some bananas, tender coconuts, 10 kilograms of rice and 100 lemons for you to take back home. Also take a few vegetables and mangoes from our garden. Everything is organic. No, Appa, please, I can't. I'll be living alone now and I don't need so much. It will just get wasted. Getting the water out from a tender coconut is a big process in the city. I'd rather buy it from the vendor who sits in front of my hospital and gives it to me ready to drink with a straw. We still have the rice you gave us last time. Moreover, there is no one at home to make pickle out of these 100 lemons. Just 10 will be enough for me. Ajja sounded sad when he said, It doesn't matter. You can share it with Vivek. No, sir. It is really too much for me too. I can only take half of everything, said Vivek. Well, the car is already loaded with the fruits and vegetables. Give the remaining to a temple nearby, suggested Ajja. The nearest temple is quite a distance away. Appa doesn't understand the logistics and distances in the city, Shekhar thought to himself. Meanwhile, Ajji started laying down banana leaves on the dining table. Nooni remembered her mother's advice and rushed to the kitchen. Ajji, may I help you? You are such a sweet little girl. Why don't you sit down and eat with your father? Let me at least give everyone water, Nooni insisted. Is the water boiled and cooled? Shekhar turned to his mother and asked. Shekhar, don't worry. As a doctor's mother, I am aware of the importance of clean water. We also have a water filter at home, said Ajji, and started putting the water into the glasses on the table.